Hear me? Let me just send this right quick, okay? If you can hear me, please type a Y in the chat. Like I said, tonight's webinar is going to be a lot different than previous webinars you've probably been to. Like most webinars on social media, the first thing that many people do is to, one, get you to sign up, tell you that you can attend an absolutely free webinar, and at the same time, they're really looking to sell you on something. As far as an entrepreneur goes, though, I primarily worked in the technology and finance side, where I've owned a mortgage brokerage, I've owned an ad agency, and now we're not going to say, when I say owned an ad agency, I'm not talking about a social media marketing agency like everyone is owning now, how to be a social media marketer. No, I'm talking about a real ad agency where, well, my people would actually represent clients and place advertising on radio, television, billboard, social, really a combination of what we call traditional media as well as social media or new media, okay? And just to see the whole thing about when you give a presentation, people always want to know what your ethos is, okay? Now, I can sit here and tell you all the things that I've done and all the degrees that I've had, which, by the way, I have an MBA from the University of Massachusetts, Amherst Eisenberg School of Management, and I have a master's in international marketing management from Boston University, and specializing in doing business in Latin America. And of course, here are my degrees, my transcripts right here, just in case anybody's questioning it. And also here is my profile serving on the Global Advisory Board for Southern New Hampshire University. In other words, their strategic direction as far as business goes for their online programs for 2020 and 2021. Now, the biggest question is, where do you start? Okay, where do you start? And I can tell you, based on how tech companies do and how more bigger companies right now, I'm talking about major Fortune 500 and even 100 companies are acting like startups. They start with what is called the business model canvas. Now, the business model canvas, or the BMC, is basically, basically it allows you to test the feasibility of a business, right? And basically it's a template for developing new business ideas, coming up with what they call a value proposition, coming up with cost structures. In other words, what you have to pay for in order to run your business, as well as coming up with, how you're going to communicate with your customer. But more importantly, instead of me just explaining it to you, I'm going to share a very short video that actually explains what it's all about. So check this out.
An organization's business model can be described with 9 basic building blocks: your customer segments, your value proposition for each segment, the channels to reach customers, customer relationships you establish, the revenue streams you generate, the key resources and key activities.
Look behind me. This is what we call a business model canvas, right behind me, right? Some years ago, about a year ago or so, we actually did this for a local radio station, right? Because we told the local radio station that we would be able to come in and generate revenue for them, because they literally were having a hard time generating revenue for themselves. We were going to stack technology, we were going to leverage it, and we would be able to basically through sales generate revenue for them to actually put them on the right track. So with the BMC, as far as the service or your product goes, you need to start to think about how you're going to develop your product or your idea, right? And how you're going to get others to do the work for you. I want you to hear what I just said. How you're going to get others to do the work for you. That is the key. Now, many of you guys may have, this is the timeline I want you to follow. So I'm going to not only follow a timeline here, but I'm going to identify the key things that you need to do on these days and how much these things should cost you. Now, this is a range, but the total at the end, once we do the summing up, will be less than $1,000. So let's get started.